Now it's 5. Righto. You good? Thank you. Okay, welcome everybody to the councillors to the general meeting of the 20th of February 2025. In accordance with the Weddin Shire Council's Code of Meeting Practice, this meeting will be recorded for the purposes of audio-visual live streaming via Council's website and the Council's Facebook page. Those in attendance are asked to refrain from making any defamatory statements and comply with all relevant Weddin Shire Council codes, policies and procedures at all times. Weddin Shire Council would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people who are the traditional custodians of the land we meet on today. We'd also like to pay our respects to the elders both past and present of the Wiradjuri Nation and extend that respect to other Aboriginal Australians who are present or watching. Weddin Shire Council also would like to honour our service personnel who have sacrificed their lives in the defence of our freedom, our peace and our prosperity. We acknowledge all of our frontline workers and volunteers who each day provide our essential and non-essential services, especially those within our Weddin Shire local government area. We've got attendances. All the councillors are here today. Thank you very much. So therefore, with no apologies. We move on to the leaves of absence. General Manager, no leaves of absence. No applications. Then we move on to 5, which was the confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 19th of December 2024 and the extraordinary council meeting on the 16th of January 2025. Do I have a move and a seconder for that? Yeah, moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Rolls. Any questions regarding that? Councillor Niven?
Yes, Mr Mayor. I've got a problem with the December minutes.
Yep.
The answers to my questions on notice are not correct.
Not correct.
They're not correct, no.
So you'd like to reinstate those questions for the General Manager to report on?
What am I going to do?
Would you like to reinstate the questions, or what are you're stating they're not correct?
Well, yes, we'll reinstate the questions. However that happens.
So we can take them up for the next meeting then? We can take them on notice for the next meeting? Yep.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll move that, do I, or what?
Confirm with the amendment.
Sorry?
Confirm with the amendment.
Yep, so you'd like to, so we've got the recommendation here that the minutes be accepted, so you're actually asking for an amendment to that motion?
I'm saying that I'm not going to accept that minutes as they are.
Okay, you're not accepting, right? So Councillor Parlett?
Can I just request from Councillor Niven through the chair?
Yes.
There was 2 lots of questions from my recollection. One put in the first lot of business papers we received, and then a second lot given to us 2 days prior to the meeting. Is that the concern that you're requesting the first ones put back? Because I believe we're supposed to, it's my understanding, that our business papers are to be given to us 3 days ahead. Therefore, the other lot of answers should have been tabled as a late notice. And are they the questions that were tabled, or the answers as a late notice, are they the ones you have a concern about?
I've got a concern with the answers that were given to us because they're just not correct. There's been considerable correspondence between the General Manager and myself, and all the councillors are well aware of what the problem is. So I'm just saying the answers are not correct.
Yeah, through Mr Mayor, we can table it again, and they will be as per the email that Councillor Niven sent to me on my Christmas break, and they will be answered that way, and that was forwarded on to ICAC and the OLG.
It's the same answer?
Yes.
Oh,
Hello, so
okay, right, well that's fine. I won't accept the minutes.
So this stage you're not accepting the minutes, but therefore we have a move and a second for anyone else to accept. So we've actually got a move and a second already. So Councillor Niven's actually put an objection against them. So all those in favour of accepting the minutes? All those against? Thank you very much, councillors. Yep, 3 against.
I've had my name recorded, so
yes,
it's not forgot, please.
Yep, fine, councillor. We catch up. Next we move on to the General Manager. Any disclosures of interest?
Yes, through you, Mr Mayor, there are 2. Item 11, Councillor Jan Parlett, item 11.11, in relation to the Henry Lawson Festival meeting minutes. Description of interest is Vice President to the Henry Lawson Festival Committee. It's a non-pecuniary interest, it's significant no, but you will be leaving the chamber. Myself as General Manager, item 16.1 in relation to the electricity contract for small sites. The description of interest is I'm an electricity customer of the council residents. It's a pecuniary interest, it's significant yes, and I will be leaving the chamber. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Next we move on to 7. We have a public forum. We do have Mr Mawini today to present to the council, if that's all right, councillors. Welcome, Trevor. You want to come forward and speak about? I think you believe you're speaking to a matter which will be dealt with in the closed council. But welcome.
Thank you everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Trevor Mawini. I reside at 53 Bradley Street, Bradford. You would have seen various correspondence that I've sent in and photos of the disrepair of the road, which council have informed me that there's no money for the repairs to be done for a couple of years. So I've put a proposal forward that I'll repair the gutter at my cost in lieu of the council rates until they're evaporated. And then council I've heard at third hand that council were happy to do the dressing of the tar once the curb and gutter was in. So that's the reason I'm here tonight. I've been invited to come and speak. So, you want to ask me or
no sort of ability to do that sort of thing. It's on a forum, so yeah.
Right, yeah. So I'll ask a question. Has everyone seen the state of the street? Everyone's aware? Yeah.
Mr Mayor, am I allowed to ask what the anticipated cost is? Or we can't do that?
Well, not technically.
All right, that's okay.
But I mean, I'm sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, I've been quoted 15 to 20,000 to do the drive and the curb and gutter for the width of my block, which is roughly 50 metres.
Thank you.
I suppose there's no more questions, really. Thanks for presenting that to council.
Yeah, that's it.
No worries, thank you very much. And I said it'll be dealt with in the closed council due to its nature.
Yep.
We'll do it in the closed council this afternoon.
Yep, no problem.
Tonight. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Are you? No, he's going to stay.
You're going to stay, right?
Yep.
Next we move on to 8, sorry, the mayoral minute. Just as a mayoral minute I put in regarding the Steph Cook, our local member for Cootamundra's mayoral summit, which was held at Cootamundra. I'm taking it, the councillors have read it, but it was a great event she puts on and tries to get ministers and things to come along. Just from my point of view, it was a bit disappointing that there seemed to be an overarching theme that the rural area is just going to get less and less and less. That's, I think, every single council I think that was there felt the same way. When we talked about the housing crisis, and I said one of the things I found was interesting when they said that they had no intention of coming out here in the rural areas doing anything about housing because they said it's just too expensive to build houses in the rural areas. I just don't see how it's more expensive here to build than what it is to build in the middle of the city. So I just felt that it was very disheartening to be there and have these people speak about our rural areas like, well, you're just going to have to put up with what you've got. So anyhow, that's more. But any questions, councillors, of it? No. Oh, there is a petition as well, which the minister has brought up. It's a bipartisan really position. It's about removing some of the downgrading some of the levels in the ambulances from there's A, Bs and Cs and Ds, and downgrading them from Bs to Cs, which means that in the Cootamundra area they're going to be actually removing some equipment from the actual ambulances. And to me it's a bit of a thin edge of the wedge. If you start doing it there, they can do it anywhere, basically. So I think it's, I just ask for everybody, if they see the petition, to sign the petition. I think rural areas ambulances are very, very important. We spend more time in them than, you know, we've got to travel further distances than what they do in the cities, yet they're still quite happy to remove some of these services. So we need to support those ambulance drivers for their training the best we possibly can. So I think it's something that if any councillors or anyone in the community wants to sign those petitions, I think we will have one in the counter. We'll have one in the counter here at the council chambers as well. If they see them out in the public or anywhere in the other towns, please sign them. I said it's we've got to keep our services in the regional areas. That's all. So thank you very much.
So you moved your mayoral minute?
Oh yes, I'll move the mayoral minute.
Yep.
Sorry. So I don't need a second there, but all those in favour of second the mayoral minute? Thank you. All those against? Thank you very much. Yeah. Sorry?
The mayor, yep.
Yeah, the mayor, you don't need a seconder for the mayoral minute, that's all. Right. We move on to section 9, which is motions and questions with notice. We do have a notice of motion, a notice of rescission at the moment. Now, Councillor Gorman, did you wish to go ahead with this, or you?
No, I'm going to withdraw the rescission, please.
Right, so as of clause 10.3, I think it is, councillor who has submitted a notice of motion under clause 3.9 wishes to withdraw after the agenda and business papers for that meeting at which has been considered have been sent to councillors. The council may request a withdrawal of the motion when it's before council. So I think that's Councillor Gorman has asked to to withdraw that motion, so that will be accepted. Thank you. Before we move on. Down here, we move on to, now going to the General Manager's report, 10.1.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Got to it? Yep,
Yes.
10.1, the Arts and Tourism Officers. The
So the delivery.
program.
Mover and seconder.
Yep, so we have a movement and second, please, for that. Yep, Councillor Macon, seconded by Councillor White. Thank you.
Through you, Mr Mayor. In relation to the delivery program progress report, as councillors are aware in the community where we are currently out for consultation at the moment for our Weddin 2035 Community Strategic Plan, but this report is basically reporting on the current delivery program that covers this current financial year. So their actions as at the 31st of December, obviously I acknowledge that we're nearly 2 months after that date, so some of the, I guess the past tense might be a bit confusing for anyone who is reading those project updates as well. But I'm happy to report that we are progressing quite well in terms of those actions that we've set aside that we said we were going to achieve for the financial year, but it's also providing to the council the information relating to where things are still subject to funding or things will be deferred into the next 6 months as well. Does any questions?
Any questions, councillors? No questions? I suppose like one about we're upgrading the strategic business plan for the sewerage network. Is that something?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'm going to say that will probably be our focus post the first of the next financial year.
Next financial year, moving in the next financial year.
I'm, through you, Mr Mayor, I'm going to preempt this strategy or action is going to carry across into the next delivery program.
Okay, that's all right. Just that was one that was important. It's costing us a lot of money. It's just something that review I was waiting for it as well. Yep. So all those in favour of accepting that, please, councillors? Yep. All those against? Move. Thank you. We're all quiet tonight. Next one is 10.2, Council's Expenses Report. I ask the General Manager to present the Council's report. We have a move and a seconder. Yeah, moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Gorman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In relation to the Council Expenses Report, this aligns to the current Council Expenses Facilities Expenses and Facilities Policy. So it is a report in terms of itemising council expenses from the 1st of July 24 through to 31st of December. I note that it also incorporates the previous councillors in the previous term. So this is a report that we need to provide to council every 6 months.
Any comments or councillors? Any comments, questions? No? So all those in favour of accepting the report then? All right. All those against? Thank you, councillors. Very good. We move on to 10.3, submission to the Office of Local Government on our Code of Meeting Practices. Found it? Page 54.
Move and seconder.
Yep. So we have a move and a second for that, please. Yep. Councillor Neal and seconded by Councillor Macon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As councillors are aware, the Minister for Local Government has a strong interest in changing our Code of Meeting Practice. I do believe that the track change version that has been provided for public consultation has actually been done by the Minister himself. So he is proposing a number of recommendations with the new Code of Meeting Practice. We have submitted in the last council term a submission to the Code of Conduct policy and the changes that he was proposing in that space. This paper / draft code is focused on the conduct within the council meetings. There's a number of points in there that we are proposing that we agree with, that, we see that there's no harm in terms of the changes that are being put forward, but there are some strong provisions in there that I believe we should be putting a submission saying that we disagree with. So to wrap it up, it's around every single time a person speaks or a councillor speaks, they must stand to address the room. I don't believe that that's something that actually should occur. And there's also some rules around notices of motion being able to be put to council without firstly going through the staff to be able to provide staff comment, expenditure of budget, especially if it is a motion that requires expenditure of budget. I see it being counterintuitive, especially if you have a council that says the resolution ends up reading that you send the report back for staff to fill out the expenditure. It kind of delays the purpose of actually tabling the report. So there's quite a few things that the Minister has got a strong interest in, and we have gone through and provided that. One of the things that I think we should also be objecting to is, for example, if councillors need to go away for work, or they might be flooded and not be able to travel into to town for the council meeting. The reasons for being able to dial in through Microsoft Teams through audio-visual link has been completely restricted down to carer's responsibility, or I think it's illness. So I think that's quite an issue. I think given that a lot of us, especially from a unified front from a rural area, there's always going to be issues with being able to get to a council meeting, especially if you're a farmer as well. So that there is something that we object to, and one of the other provisions that I didn't pick up in the table, and I just wanted to flag that I will be adding it into the council submission, was around the council could choose which staff members attend the council meeting. As you're aware, councillors can't direct staff, and we do our meetings in the evenings. It would be, I guess, a breach of what I consider the local government award in terms of councillors instructing staff to come out of hours to a council meeting.
Very good. Any questions, councillors? Comment? I'd say thank you very much to the General Manager for a lot of work on that. I think it's got to get picked up by, you said, the joint organisations probably going to pick up and use our submission as well. So it's something we've got to put submissions into this. It's a lot of time, and the staff takes up a lot of time doing these sorts of things, but it's the only way we can have our say on them.
So through you, Mr Mayor, to the General Manager, even though we submit this objection to all these things, multiple councils, it doesn't mean we're going to take them on board?
Yeah. Through Mr Mayor, that is correct. I think the Minister has had this view, and sorry, the one thing I probably should have flagged very early on is his view on pre-briefings. So the page turn through that we conduct at 4 p.m. before the council meeting, he wants to have that provision removed. It does take away the opportunity for councillors to ask questions for clarification, especially if we use acronyms and you don't understand it. You probably don't want to be asking them in the public space, and he has a very strong, he's very strongly minded in terms of this view, in terms of getting rid of that pre-briefing as well, which I've put forward that we should disagree with.
Thank you.
No other comments, questions, councillors? No? All those in favour of the recommendation, please. All right. All those against? Those against, Councillor Needham. Thank you. Next we move on to 10.4, the resolution register. 11.4. I'll ask the General Manager to present the resolution register. It's on page 141.
This table of contents is incorrect.
Yes, that's fine.
Through you, Mr Mayor, we just have the council resolution register. Obviously, it's been a running resolution register from the last council term, and just councillors for awareness there, I think we've managed to also close out a few of the resolutions as well.
Yeah. With the library one, well, that's something we'll go forward if we go with central libraries, Central West Libraries.
Through you, Mr Mayor,
We're really asking for a review, that's all.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, I believe that one of the first actions that Central West Libraries will be undertaking is a review.
So that'll cover off on that one.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you. Any questions, councillors? Do we have I probably didn't ask for a move in a second. Do I move in a second to accept the resolution register, please? Yeah, Councillor Macon and Councillor Rolls, seconded. All those in favour?
No.
All right, all those against? Thank you, councillors. Next we move on to 11, the Corporate Services Report. I think we've got the quarterly budget review statement, QBRS, which will be presented.
Move in second. Yep.
Yeah, Dana's going to present that. So move in a seconder for this one resolution, please. Yeah, Councillor Parlett and seconded by Councillor Montgomery. Thank you. And move over and...
Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot which title you're under there. That's all. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Is it acting director?
I will assume that this paper has been read. I'd like to just briefly mention that we are on track with our budget. The only area that we can see of concern, which we are all aware of, is the sewer fund with the wages. At the moment, we are at 62% of the budget. Our roads, natural disaster work is going well. It's unfortunately the state government has reduced a lot of our packages, which I've specified in the report. And what else? We've also got a lot of work to be done with the IT department going forward, and just would also like to note that in the last QBRS we wrongly mentioned that the block rate was 810, but it's in fact 160. I think that's all I need to ask.
Thank you very much. I just had a question. We've got, you said an operational surplus of 198 forecast in the 2025 budget. That's the 2025-26 one, is it?
Which one, sorry?
Sorry, when you're talking about like the waste management, $100,000 for the waste management, 150 in the year 2025. You're saying, is that we're talking about then adding another 198 at the end of 25? I'm taking on notice, it's all good.
Yeah, I'll take that on notice.
That's right, I was just checking that. Any questions, councillors, for the quarterly review statement? No? No questions? No? I don't think I had any more. No, thank you very much. It's a good forward. Thank you very much for the work on that. Whoever did all the work on the forward, it's very comprehensive and it's really easy to understand. It's very good. Thank you. So all those in favour of accepting the quarterly budget review, there's recommendations there. Aye. All those against? Carried. Thank you very much, councillors. Thank you.
Come back to that.
It's all right, no hurry. Let's wait and see. There's a lot of work in that quarter.
My mouse is really loud, I'm sorry.
Very good. 11.2. Next we move on to 11.2, the rates and charges collection. It's recommended the council notes the information in its report, the update on the rates and charge collection for the month of January 2025. Have a move and a seconder for that one. Yep, Councillor Neal, and seconded by Councillor Montgomery. Thank you very much. I'll ask the Acting Director of Corporate Services in that role to present this.
Yep, through you, Mr Mayor. Our rate collection is just on par with the OLG requirement of 10%. In the last 2 months, we collected nearly $400,000. And our current arrears at the moment is 472,000 compared to 592 at the end of the last financial year.
Any questions, councillors? No comments? No? I'd like to thank the staff for the lot of work on that. That's really hard work getting those figures down. We were heading up there a bit there, about 12% there for a while, and I think that benchmark is something to achieve, and getting under that benchmark will be exceptional. So thank you very much for all that hard work. It's a hard job. We really do appreciate it. It's a hard job confronting people about in hardships and things like that. So and I know we're very, it's a hard thing to do. So very considerate of people as well. So thank you very much. So all those in favour of the recommendations, councillors? Aye. Thank you. All those against? So moved. Very good. We can move on to 11.3, the statement of bank balances and banking facilities reports. The council notes the information contained in the statement of bank balances and the banking facilities report. A mover and a seconder, please. Yeah, Councillor White and Councillor Montgomery. Thank you very much.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Our cash position is still going very well. Our restricted cash balance is under control. You can see there within the liabilities that we can cover them if anything happens to council. We also have a lot of accredited grants and funding happening at the moment, and that's unrestricted cash. So once that hits the bank account, that's not restricted. And I also just would like to note about the internal allocation from the last council meeting in regards to the planned income. Between the income that we receive and the expenditure, there's an internal allocation of 401,000.
Very good. Thank you very much. Councillors, any questions or comments? Very good. Thank you very much. I think we've got a little bit of interest earned, which is really good. Good to see.
Yep.
I suppose with the drop of interest rates, we'll be redoing a few of those as well.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, we have seen a bit of a difference.
Yeah, already.
Yeah, already.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's all. Every little bit counts. Right. No questions or comments, then, councillors. I'll ask. Do I have a move in a second for that? Did I?
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. All those in favour of the recommendation. Thank you very much. All those against. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. Thank you very much. Yes, we move on to 11.4. We've got the Economic Development Officer's report on the United Nations Regional Youth Summit. I'll ask that the council note the information contained in the report endorses the $776 sponsorship of the 10 Henry Lawson High School students who attend the United Nations Regional Youth Summit, and that the $776 be drawn from the Economic Development Operations budget.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'll take this paper as read.
Sorry? Oh, yes, sorry. Yeah, moved by Councillor Parlett. Have a second? Yeah, second. Seconded by Councillor White. You're very quick there, Councillor White. Thank you. Yes?
Do you want it?
You can present the report if you'd like, or just take it as read.
We'll take, through you, Mr Mayor, we'll take that report as read.
Yeah. Any questions, councillors, or comments regarding that? No?
I think it's very
Parlett.
important that we do support our youth. We don't have that much for our youth in this way. So council showing that they do support those young people, especially those in the leadership role. We have a lot of successful students coming out of Henry Lawson High School, so I think this is one way we can endorse their efforts.
Through you, Mr Mayor, it says high school year 10, sorry, it says they're 10, sorry, I thought it was in year 10. My apologies.
10 students. Any other councillors, questions? No, I think it's a great thing as well. I think, especially since we've been doing these community plans, and there's a bit of a discussion about, you know, youth and encouraging that leadership in youth, and this is a great way for council to support it straight away.
Very
and
good.
Centre as well.
For one of the workshops I went to, that was a major talking piece about supporting the leadership roles within our shire for the youth. So it just really accommodates that really well.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, so that's things. Against you councillors, we have the recommendation there. So all those in favour of the recommendation? Aye. Thank you. All those against? So moved. Thank you. Next we move on to 11.5, the Arts, Tourism and Events Activities for December 2024 and January. These are just for noting, but I have a move and a seconder. Councillor Gorman, Councillor Macon, thank you. Yep. I'll ask the EDO the Economic Development Officer to present this as well.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'll take the report as read. However, for noting, the report does contain a summary on the Light Up the Night event, which was a terrific achievement from our events team and has received excellent feedback from the community. That funding program has now been finalised.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I just have a question about the festoon lighting in association with that. Is it working off solar sensors? Because I walked down the street one night and one end was lit, but and then when I walked back down the street, they were both lit.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, I can answer that one. We just need adjustments with the photoelectric cell.
Oh, cool. Yeah, okay.
Councillor Gorman?
Mr Mayor, some of us councillors received an email recently inviting councils to nominate various things that they may have done for a big awards ceremony that's heading up a bit later in the year. I can't remember the dates or that at the moment. However, one of the areas was tourism and culture, and I reckon it would be a very good thing for the council if the staff were happy and everyone's here supported it, to nominate our Light Up the Night. And that includes other things they did at the time in the lead up, like the photography competition, etc.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'm having a smirk on my face because we nominated the Light Up the Night a couple of years ago and we got beaten by the Gunneda's library program in origami. But I think we've already had the discussion in-house. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We will be definitely putting an application forward.
Yeah, so we don't need any recommendations on that?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I think it would be good that council are the ones that are resolving to move this way. I think that would be excellent to,
All right, well,
have
I'll
an
move that.
Yep, so we've got an amendment there. Council nominates the Light Up the Night for which particular...
it's the LG New South
Oh, so the LG New South Wales
Awards.
Yeah.
And they even apparently are telling everybody who has what all the nominations are in a few months' time, so that even if we don't succeed, we get our name up as a potential achiever.
No, I think it's a great event. So I've had nothing but positive reports back from the community. A lot of people very asking whether it's going to happen again next year, which is the funding for it is a bit of an issue, but anyway, very good. So we've got that. Sorry?
Just it's an amendment, so we can just put it so it's formalised.
Yes, so it's an amendment. So the move and the seconder was Gorman and Macon. You accept that amendment, councillors?
Yep.
Yes. So all those in favour of the amendment, please raise your hands. Yep. All those against? So carried. Thank you very much. Yep. We'll move on to 11.6, Librarians Report for October and December 2024. Ask the Acting Director of Corporate Services or the Economic Development Officer to report this one, please.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'll take this report as read,
Yeah.
just for noting.
Just for noting. Any questions or comments, councillors? No? Very good. Looks like
Is there a mover and second?
Not yet, no. We have a move and a second of this report. Sorry, councillors. Yeah, Councillor Neal, second by Councillor Montgomery. Thank you. I'll just say, it looks like the e-books are sort of working their way up, aren't they? Yeah, it's surprising how quickly it's people are using them, so very, very good. Okay, so all those in favour of the recommendation, thank you, councillors. All those against, thank you, so moved. Next we move on to 11.7, which is a community support application from the Salvation Army Grenfell. The recommendations that we council notes the information contained in the report and approves the $168 in-kind donation for hire of the conference rooms and spare office in the community hub buildings on the 13th of March 2025 and the 17th of June 2025 for the Weddin Shire Services Day. We have a mover and a second of that recommendation. Councillor Rolls and Councillor Montgomery, thank you. The Economic Development Officer would like to speak on this one.
Through you, Mr Mayor, we take this paper as read. However, for awareness, the Weddin Services Day is an initiative of Weddin Interagency. Their first Services Day was in November last year and had an excellent attendance from services that have Weddin within their service footprint. And we hope that the March and June events will have a similar level of support in the new venue.
Yep, Councillor.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Alton, do we have any numbers of attendees besides the store holders? Like how many people actually came through for the first service event?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'll have to take that on notice.
Sure. It seemed to be well supported.
Sorry. Also for you, Mr Mayor, just regarding if there was 20 stores, how is that going to fit into the hub with proper access for people, say those with disabilities and so forth?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'll have to take that on notice.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's something the actual committee themselves and the Salvation Army would have looked at, hopefully. So, but it's a good point to bring up. Yeah. But you would assume if they're asking for that, they've thought about the access for the people. So, and some of those stores would be I'm assuming, would just be a single person sitting there as a contact point.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, if I can say that they also combined tables as well with service providers last time around.
Very good. So any more comments, councillors, on the community support application? That fits within our budget for the community supports. So all those in favour of the recommendation, raise your hand, please. Thank you. All those against? Thank you, councillors. Next one, we move on to another community support application from the Grenfell Hospital Auxiliary of 11.8. The recommendation, the council notes the information in the report and approves the $600 in-kind donation to the Grenfell Hospital Auxiliary for their Hospital Auxiliary Day, I think it is, isn't it? For forum, from the regional forum. So, would you like to speak on that? Oh, sorry, move in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, moved by Councillor Rolls and second by Councillor Macon. Thank you very much.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'll take the paper as read. However, for awareness, the Grenfell Hospital Auxiliary are an incredibly active group in our community doing some important fundraising for our local hospital and other medical services and have raised tens of thousands of dollars out of our community in recent years. They are hosting the regional forum in Grenfell in March, and there is an opportunity to support their event through the provision of Weddin Mountains region merchandise. This has a dual benefit of supporting the Grenfell Hospital Auxiliary as well as providing an excellent marketing opportunity for our Weddin Mountains region.
Any questions, councillors? No questions?
I think it's very well supported that the council do provide some assistance to the hospital auxiliary. As Alden has stated, they are a big key asset to this community and have provided in such great donations themselves to the whole community.
They do a lot of work, yes. I suppose a bit of a technical question. Is the value at resale value or is it cost value?
Through you, Mr Mayor, that's at resale value.
That's resale value. Thank you. Now, they do some terrific work, really. They really do. I'm happy to support them in this. So if there's no more questions or comments, councillors, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour of the recommendation? Aye. All those against? Thank you. So carried. We move on to 11.9. We've got 3 community support applications, one after the other. So this is for the breast screening van. The council provides in-kind support to Breast Screen New South Wales for the 2025 biennial visit of the breast screening van. We move it to the actual position for the breast screening people. So I'll ask the mover in a second for this one. Thank you, Councillor Montgomery and Councillor Parlett. Thank you. That's not pointed. Ask the Economic Development Officer to speak on this.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'll take this paper as read. However, for awareness, this is a service that Council has provided to the breast screening van in recent years. It requires the provision of Council's prime mover and a staff member to transport the van from Carra to Grenfell in April.
Questions? No comments? Yes, Councillor
It's just a shame that we can't get the breast screening van sooner for the Women's Health Week in March. It would have been ideal to create an event or something around that, but understandable.
No more questions? Yes, Councillor May.
Through you, Mr Mayor, when the screening van's finished, whose responsibility is it then to move it to the next point?
Through you, Mr Mayor, it becomes the responsibility of the next LGA that it goes to.
Yeah, you can bring it forward. All right, very good. So Council has received the community support application. So all those in favour of the support, please. Thank you. All those against, so moved. 11.10, the delegates report to the 2025 National General Assembly. Who's going to speak on this one? Is it the General Manager would like to speak to this one? There's a recommendation, the Council notes report. Council encourages attendance of all councillors at the 2025 Australian National Government Association Conference, which is on 24th and 27th of June 2025, and councillors to affirm their attendance by 28th of February 2025 to the General Manager. So we have a move and a second for this motion. Yep. Councillor Montgomery and seconded by Councillor White. Thank you. The General Manager will speak on this one.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In relation to the Australian Local Government Association, they do run the National General Assembly in Canberra every year, and they invite the 537 councils across the country to it. Every year we always send the Mayor and General Manager. The Mayor is the voting delegate on behalf of council. We thought it was a good opportunity to expand it more broadly to invite the councillors as non-voting delegates. A lot of councils do send other councillors as non-voting delegates. It's a good opportunity to attend because you get to interact with over 1,100 delegates from across the country. They have very, very interesting keynote speakers as well as a section of the day that goes into the debates in terms of what ALGA, as our Australian Local Government Association, will support and what they will advocate for. It's important to note that they also conduct a Rural Forum Day on the first day, which excludes all the Sydney councils and is a bit more intimate in terms of being able to actually connect with other country councils or rural councils across Australia. So the reason why we're putting it to council this month is we're hoping to capture the early bird registrations in terms of being able to book in and lock in that early bird registration, the accommodation as well. The budget does allow for it within the current councillor vote.
Councillors, any questions?
Well, I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and I will value being able to attend. And I think it's great that the rest of us get to have a chance to mingle with other councillors, learn about the issues and start a networking of our own. Thank you.
I think, Councillor Parlett, sorry.
In the past we have had councillor representation as well as our Mayor and GM. We did used to quite often send an additional 2 delegates, and that the reasoning for that was over the 4-year term it was considered that everybody then would get a chance to go, and that then wasn't a huge expenditure for council in one go, because I guess we've got to be mindful we've been luckily getting now back on target with our budget, but we have been a bit maxed out, and my concern is if there was other areas that councillors might want some to do or go to, that would restrict the budget. But I guess I think councillors need to have a choice as to attending or not attending. But I just thought I would mention that sort of situation of doing 2 each year or 3 or whatever might be a way of watching our budget as such.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if I can make a comment that I've already had responses from some councillors who are unable to attend, so we won't be sending the full council.
Personally, I think, through the mayor, personally, I think it would be an incredible opportunity, and as a team, if there's at least a few of us who are able to receive the information, we can see connections with how we can implement some of those policies and procedures, or take it on board so that it becomes something that's of value to Grenfell. And sometimes if you're a lone voice, and in education sometimes you get sent out to courses of 1 or 2 people and you come back and report, unfortunately you don't have the impact that you would have if there were 3 or 4 or 5 of you there, all speaking and supporting and bringing their different perspectives of what the event presented to them in terms of value. So I get where you're coming from, and I think to cater for the fact that several may be interested in going, we just need to be a little bit careful as to what we nominate to go to in future.
Very good. Thank you, Councillor. I think there will also be opportunity for us to present a notice of motion at this one. So we probably, if anyone's got any suggestions of notice of motions, which I think we will have, we'll then present them at the next council meeting to be adopted by the council, for them to then present it at the Alba conference. I think it's a worthwhile cause to go to it. I think you do tend to see what other councils are dealing with as well. There's a lot of discussion around the room and of what other things that councillors are dealing with in their shires. Some of them don't really pertain to us, but a lot of them do, and to see how they're actually dealing with those sort of things, I think it's very important. And this does set the tone for what Alba is going to look for. I think it's going to be on, making rural councils financially sustainable is probably going to be a big thing about this particular one. So I think it's worthwhile that we do go to it and really put our hand up and say we need to be here in the future.
So, Mr. Mayor, are you asking for some motions now?
No. Just if you want to present them to the General Manager in between now and next month, we'll then table them here and then we'll vote on whether we're going to put those motions to the other conference. That's all. Councillor Montgomery?
Through the Mayor, I also think that it broadens our horizons.
Yes.
Instead of only thinking in a small environment, we get out and we see what the rest of the world's doing, and we can bring that back, because there's so many things others are doing that are very innovative, and we can then tap into those things. So I think it's an extraordinary, an education.
It is. Yeah, that's agreed. Any councillors, no more comments? No. I'll put that one to the vote. All those in favour, please. Raise your hand. Yep. All those against? Thank you very much, councillors. 11.11, the Henry Lawson Festival funding request. I've moved on.
No, all good.
Oh, Councillor Parler's declaration. Councillors, this is one for a decision. The council recommendation that we note the report and council determined to support or not support the authorisation of the expenditure of funds for. So the council has asked, they are asking for an additional funds of $5,825 for event management on the 2025 festival. Is anyone going to present? Yes, we have a move and a second for this report. Sorry, councillors. Yes, Councillor Rolls, second by Councillor Montgomery. Thank you very much. Is anyone going to General Manager going to speak to this report? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a start on it. As Council is aware, our Section 355 Committee of the Henry Lawson Festival Committee has put in a request for event management. Every year we provide $20,000 towards event management, as well as other contributions with in-kind donation, and also with the marketing and the art prize. But in relation to what we're addressing today is the event management request. The committee did go out and seek quotes in terms of event management, and the quote has come back, and it is obviously a bit more than what the budget has been specified for this purpose. So they do now have a shortfall of $5,825. So the question that we are putting to Council for your determination is around whether or not you support the authorisation of expenditure of funds out of Council's budget and where it would be allocated from.
Very good, thank you very much. Council, any comments or questions anywhere? No?
So just for
Councillor Mason?
the additional 5,825 plus GST, where was that taken from the previous year? Because it was utilised last festival to have event management. Where was it used from there?
Yes, through you, Mr Mayor. Last financial year, the council resolved for the funding to come out of the Henry Lawson Festival bank account. From my understanding, the committee did not choose for that option to happen, and they asked for the event manager to de-scope what they provided as part of their service offering.
Thank you.
Are we,
Councillor Gorman, sorry.
Mr. Mayor, are we expecting by the sound of what I'm hearing from the festival committee when I go to the meetings, it sounds like the organisation is up and running and there are going to be a lot of activities at the festival for us and the tourists, and one of their biggest concerns seems to be accommodation in terms of being able to encourage people maybe to stay overnight, spend more at the, local businesses and in the town. And, having been a member of that committee on and off for particularly a long time ago, a lot of work goes into it. And I think to just even inspire them and to show our support, I think we need to do this.
Councillor Rolls?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just reading, we've already increased funding by $5,000 on last year's budget. So then on top of that, they're asking for another 6,000 effectively. Is council aware or have the committee provided what the balance of the bank account still sits at the time of the request?
Through Mr Mayor, it's probably, I think it's sitting around the $70,000 mark.
And then the paper goes on to say that if I'm surmising it right, that they're making a donation of sorts of $15,000 as per resolution 046/24.
The Grenfell Grow Group?
Yep, so that's the Lawson Festival Committee making a donation, if you will, to the Grenfell Grow Group, but then still asking us for another $6,000.
Through you, Mr Mayor, that's correct.
That's correct.
I think that needs to be considered, that they could perhaps lessen their donation amount.
Mr Mayor, I just think we should find the money, and I'm not sure where from, because the festival, it's just fantastic for Grenfell. To me, it's just, I mean, I don't help as much as what I used to, but it's volunteers, it's a fun, and look, we just got to get the money.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I don't, from an outside looking in and only newly coming a part of, more deeply involved in the festival, that I think without the event management part of it, it wouldn't be as successful as it is. With the event team from that came on board last year, the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes, digital marketing, all that sort of stuff, I think that amount of $6,000 respectively is going to come back in a way of bringing income, economy to the town, back in Grenfell's pocket, rather than not supplying the money and we're losing that potential exposure, marketing, getting people to come to the town for the festival as well. So I think it's probably in the best interest to provide the money, and it would be counterintuitive not, if that makes sense.
Councillor White?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I am agreeing with everyone that the festival is a big key asset to this community and our tourism and our economic development. Referring back to Councillor Rolls there, I'm in agreement that if they can make a $15,000 donation, why can't it be reduced to giving the Grenfell Grove Group a $9,000 donation and using the other $6,000 to cover the asset event management fees?
What can,
Councillor Gorman?
through the Mayor, the $15,000 that was going to the Grow Grenfell, what were they going to use it for? What were they requiring? Do you know?
Yes, we know, yeah.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, it's actually in the resolution register. So it was in relation to the cultural centre that's being proposed by the Grow Grenfell Group down towards Railway there. So it actually still sits on the resolution register for that purpose.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
So it's not for the lighting of the
There's multiple elements to it.
multiple elements?
Yeah. There was the lighting of the buildings and then also the cultural centre.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, where is
Right.
that particular project up to, do we know? Is it affected by any current land usage plan that might prevent it from happening, in that those funds aren't required in the current financial year for them?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, in relation to the cultural centre, I'll just note, just referring to resolution 046 of 24. So it was around the request for additional funds for lighting of the Main Street buildings. So I correct myself and approve the funding allocation to the Grow Grenfell Group for the $15,000. I've said that it was in relation to the cultural centre. It's in relation to the Grenfell Main Street buildings. But in relation to that, a lot of the buildings that have been put forward, obviously the council buildings have been impacted by hailstorm damage, and we're still going through the process now with our insurance companies to have those locations fixed. But then the other aspect is that the Grow Grenfell Group, I understand, have gone to the committee around lighting up the Henry's Hut as an alternative option, because obviously part of their funding from Stronger Country Communities, they need to deliver this work by 30 June, just like we need to deliver our works by 30 June as well. So it is a time-poor project in terms of lighting up the buildings there.
Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Neil, yes.
Could the money be taken out of, if some of us delegates aren't going to this delegates conference, could the money be sourced out of the council operations to fund that $5,800?
Put that to the General Manager, I suppose.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, council can consider that. I guess it comes down to strategically thinking that this request comes in every single year. Is it better off to increase the budget, which is definitely what the committee wants? But as you're taking away from these budgets, you know, a couple of financial years ago, I forgot to mention it when Councillor Macon asked the question before, we took it from the staff training and development budget. So we continue to take from other budgets. It will continue to be an inequity issue across the board. If councillors are willing to put forward that idea that it comes out of that, then obviously we would need to reduce the delegate by at least, I think, probably 3 to 4 delegates down from the NGA. We've already resolved that we are going to let everyone who can go, so that will need to be rescinded as part of this meeting process. You can rescind council meeting resolutions as the meeting is going by. So that's just for consideration there, but some strategic discussion needs to be had around overall in terms of how much it is actually costing them genuinely in event management. But we're also preserving a bank account that is left there as well.
Thank you.
Right, councillors, I suppose we're going to have to sort of bring this to some sort of conclusion. I think there's obviously plenty of support around the room to support the festival committee, isn't there? Like, we can see that everyone wants to support them. It's just where we're going to find the funds. So I think the decision really comes down to, Councillor Neil has suggested taking it from the training budget.
For councillors.
Or council's expense budget, sorry, the council's expense budget. I think there's a suggestion that we actually reduce from the Grow Grenfell Group and reduce that. So I'll see if anyone would like to put a motion, Councillor?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I won't be going to Canberra I don't think it'd do me as much good as others. I've been to these type of things. So I'll move that we take the funds from the expenses.
The council's expenses.
Yeah, the council expenses, yeah. The five, yeah.
Yep, we've got a motion there, so we need a seconder for Councillor Niven's motion there. Yep. Councillor Neal, got the second that. Okay, we've got a mover and a seconder. So we'll just check that we've got. The motion was to take the extra funds from the $5,825.
Yeah.
From the councillor expenditure.
Yeah, get the expenditure, yeah.
Budget.
Could I just seek clarification from either Councillor Niven or Councillor Neal? Would that be the expected action next year also in the festival request?
No, definitely not.
So when we address this issue next year, what is the proposal then?
Yeah.
Because we'll ask for more money every year. So just some clarification, is there a plan beyond this request?
Not at all.
Not at this time, no, that's fine.
Through you, Mr Mayor, just quick calculations. It would mean that we would need to reduce the delegate number down, so 3 councillors will miss out. And I would personally prefer that we just vote the delegates who are going, rather than being down to a choicing. Yeah. So we've got 2 that are.
What did you say?
So in terms of, to get it to the $6,000 mark, I would need 3 people not to go to Canberra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you said something after that and I didn't hear what that was.
You're saying that you'd like to vote, because it's a bit unfair to say you just can't go, but actually vote for who's going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would do that vote after if this motion was passed, and we'd have to rescind the other motion.
Yeah.
Can I
Councillor Gorman?
make a suggestion, Mr Mayor, that the motion to take extra funds from the councillor expenditure budget is to only occur this year and not be a precedent for the future?
I'll go with that and be limited to the 5,825.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite necessary, because that's a budget. We can't really, we don't really need to name what we can't do with the budget, if you know what I mean. Like but you can say it's, I suppose, limited to the value of $5,825.
Through you, Mr Mayor, just to point out that we're allocating funds from our budget based on not attending a single event. There will be future events beyond here. We sit in our term for 4 years, so you are allocating $5,825 from budgets for effectively another 3.5 years worth of events that we may not then be able to finance.
No, through you, Mr Mayor, this is around this financial year, but Councillor Rolls, you have raised a very good issue. This does actually mean that after hours considered, there is no other budget for anything, especially if we decided we wanted to bring a facilitator in for, like Glenn Inglis back, to do something around that. It would absolutely limit the budget for the rest of the financial year for councillors, and just for that consideration and awareness as well.
Councillor Niven?
Mr Mayor, it's considered $18,000 to go to Canberra. This is less than that.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, so the $18,000 is to the end of the financial year. So if you deduct $6,000 and you spend the rest to go to Canberra, what I'm saying is that then after that, any other courses that might come up, like a lot of councillors like to do the Local Government New South Wales financial management courses, those day courses that does cost about $900, we would not be able to finance that for the rest of the financial year. You would need to wait until the following financial year. So that's the impact that this decision would have on councillors.
Thank you.
All right, councillors, I think we had a fairly good discussion on that one, so I think we've got a motion in front of us. I think I'll put that, no more comments, no more questions. And I'll put this one, that council notes report, and the motion, the amendment is that the extra funds be taken from council expenditure budget, limited to $5,825. All those in favour of that amendment, please raise your hand. Councillor Niven, yeah. All those against, please raise your hands. That one's failed, thank you. So move back to the initial recommendations we have up there. So we have to make a decision, councillors, on whether we determine to support or not support the application for the expenditure of funds. So Councillor Rolls, did you wish to move, or Councillor Macon, sorry? So Councillor White?
I'd like to move a motion that the funds be taken out of their bank account and reduce the donation to Granville Road. So it's not going to affect the council in any way through any of our budgets.
Councillor White?
So, but we can't control that being taken out. But we can raise it.
But if they're gonna-
Can we just have we've got a motion, we just need a seconder for that motion, sorry. Someone wishes the second, seconded by Councillor Gorman. Now we can open up for discussion, sorry, that's all.
Sorry, through you, Mr Mayor, I will answer that question. The Henry Lawson Festival is a Section 355 committee. That the funds belong to council.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I
Rolls.
would propose that whilst we not dictate that they reduce their donation, that we offer directive that they use the funds from within their own bank account. The assumed $70,000 budget, the assumed $70,000 balance that still sits there.
Through you, Mr Mayor, because the council resolution, if you read the resolution register, has pre-committed $15,000 to the Grow Granville Group, then $15,000 for this year's festival, and then I think it was another $15,000 for the next one. So it actually is already restricted for that purpose. So you would, as Councillor White has moved, you would need to rescind the $15,000 donation and reduce it down to allow for that to happen. Yeah.
So as part of that motion, we would have to rescind.
Councillor Gorman. Councillor Gorman is the second.
Oh, sorry. Councillor White, Councillor Gorman. So as part of that motion, we have to rescind the actual motion, which was, you got that?
I think it's 046.
So part of that, we rescind.
Oh, 042 of 24.
Yeah, so resolution 042.
046.
Oh, sorry, 046. I'm very good with numbers. 04624, and it would only be 0.2 for the approve the funding allocation to the Grow Granville Group.
And you would reduce that?
Yeah, to
Approve allocation. And you figured that's reduced to?
$9,000.
To $9,000.
Yeah.
Rescind motion 0.2, approve allocation and reduce the amount.
For you, Mr Mayor, for clarification, that Grow Granville Group is not a 355 subcommittee, it is a privately run committee?
No.
Without any council delegation or
Yes.
control, do you say?
Councillor White, you're happy with that particular motion as it's read there?
Yes.
Councillor
Yeah.
Gorman? In that
Yes.
case, so we're going to open up for discussion. You want further discussion on that matter? No discussion, councillors? Councillor Macon?
Through you, Mr Mayor, it's just, it's a tough one because you're taking from one thing to promote the town in another way, where it makes it quite difficult in how far we go to find the funds, where is there not some unrestricted or unallocated within the Shire's budget that could be utilised instead of taking them off another community group that could use those funds in a beneficial way, where lighting up the town, what have you. It's a perfect world. We'd love to give money to everyone, 100%. I think there's multiple people in this room that would acknowledge that. But I think taking it off one group to giving it to another group could create an unnecessary divide. And when we're trying to boost the town in every way, shape or form, taking off one, they're all rowing in the same boat, same direction to promote the town, by restricting one to boost another, it seems contradictory.
Through you, Mr Mayor, if I can make a comment about our budget. it's in deficit. Our unrestricted cash situation is something that the Office of Local Government has concerns about, with the ability of our ability to actually have our own source revenue and our ability to increase our own unrestricted cash. So if you do look at our current operational plan budget for this current financial year, we are reporting a deficit.
Thank you.
Councillors, any more questions? Any more comments regarding this?
For you, Mr. I'll just make the same comment again. We have one 345 subcommittee requesting funds from us because they are saying they can't afford to run, yet they are trying to maintain a committal to donate money out of an account that they saying doesn't have the money in it. So we're sorry, I should word that. They're making a donation whilst also requesting funds. I think it's only fair that the donation is reduced so that they can maintain their own funds for operation. We will face this request again next year because I believe this CO 4624 also implicates a donation of $15,000 again next financial year, if I'm correct. So it may potentially need to be reduced again to fund next year's festival. Just for consideration.
This is in addition
Yes.
to the 15.
Councillors, I think we've got to bring this to a head. We've got to have to really make a decision on this tonight. So I think if there's no more comments and questions, I think we need to put this to the room. We've got to rescind, Councillor White and Councillor Gorman, and to rescind the motion, to approve the allocation of the Grenfell Grove Group to reduce that amount down to $9,000 and the other $5,825 dollars to go to the actual festival committee. Correct? So all those in favour of that particular recommendation, raise your hands please. Thank you. All those against? Thank you, councillors. We got there in the end. Thank you, Councillor Montgomery. That's very difficult. Councillor Parlett, there was a motion which was to rescind the motion 046/2024 to the approved allocation to the Grenfell Grove Group to reduce that amount to $9,000, and the $5,000 will then be allocated to the festival committee. Thank you. We move on to 12.1, the infrastructure report. I'd like to have the Acting Director of Infrastructure to present his report. We have Council received the notes information in the report on the infrastructure works completed in December 2024 and January 2025, and the planned works for February 2025. We'll move in a second, please, councillors. Yeah, Councillor moved by Councillor Rolls, seconded by Councillor Neal. Thank you very much. I'll ask our Acting Director to present the report.
Through you, Mr Mayor, just in terms of the natural disaster packages, package 2 has now started. 9 roads have been started, 3 completed. Package 3, we have 1 road to finish, which is going to start in March and be completed, so that whole package will be complete. Package 4, it's about to start in early March because we've been given some funding for it. Package 5, we're waiting approval, still from Transport. Package 6, we have 1 road left to complete that whole package, and that's being started in mid to late March. And package 7 is awaiting approval from Transport. Major works, Greenthorpe Kurrawatha is in its final stages, sign erections happening and line markings due to happen next week. Final report will go to Transport. Nowlands Road has also started by a local contractor and work is progressing very well. Arundel Road Culvert is due to start mid-March, so that will be a great thing for that section, although the road will be closed during the construction period. Corragable Shared Path, that is our component of that, will be completed by the end of March, and then ARTC will take over and complete that pathway. We're going to be starting some design works for the curb and gutter for 3rd Street, Quandiella. Again, probably by the end of March, getting some surveyors there to do some work to pick up existing road curb. Parks and Gardens work is progressing as planned and going well. Village maintenance is again same thing, going well. Plant report has been mechanics have been busy fixing some of our aged plant, and they're doing a great job there. Biosecurity weeds work is progressing. Inspections there, travelling stock route are progressing as well, and that's it for me.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, councillors? No?
It must be great to have it all in action, Mr Engineer.
Well, thank you, Councillor. We are grateful for getting some funding for the long-awaited Package 2 and Package 4 that I've been using as an excuse, but now that we've got some money, those Package 2 with the 2 grader teams is now going into a good system of work, and Package 4 being done by contractors only because it's specialised line stabilisation work which we cannot do ourselves, so that will fix some of the damaged sealed roads around the Shire, which will again make it a much better place to live in.
Good to see, thank you.
Package 6, you've just got Bald Hills Road left.
Package 6, yeah, Bald Hills Road is going to contract to be completed March, possibly even end of March with a bit of luck.
Can you know off the top of your head, is that just gravel work, or is it?
It is topping up, reshaping, and fixing some of the ruts on Package 6, but Package 4 will do the other end, east end of Bald Hills, where it's got a bit of bitumen that'll be upgraded or repaired as well. So technically, all of Bald Hills Road will be rejuvenated.
Yeah, very good. It's a bit of an ongoing one for us because it's up, road on the side of a hill, the gravel washes down there, and it's I've driven it once in my life, and that was enough. That's good to see. I think that's all very good. Other questions then, councillors? No, like I said, it's good to see. We've used up all the tri-party agreement funding already, haven't we? There's no more. That's it. So we've just got to be careful on the expenditure on these packages going forward, that's all.
Through you, Mr Mayor, there will be parts of the future tripartite that will be also given out.
Oh, they will be coming in,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
So, very good. That takes a bit of pressure off.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. So all those in favour of those, do we adopt that Director's report, please?
Aye.
Yeah, all those against? Thank you, councillors. Thank you, Acting Director. Move on. Next we move on to, the RMCC contracts, Road Maintenance County Council contract. Councillors, the recommendation we note this report. I'll ask the Acting Director to present this one again for the RMCC contracts.
Through you, Mr Mayor, that team led by Phil is progressing according to plan. The client, Transport for New South Wales, very happy and works going very well. More sealing, resealing works are happening again, and heavy patching in the next fortnight. So it's done in stages there as required, and progressing well on the highway.
Councillors, questions? I suppose with the my question is regarding the Aboriginal procurement policy. Because it's broken up into smaller packages and things, how do we go about? You said 1.5% of committing our funding has to go to the Aboriginal employees or company.
Well,
because when it's broken up into so many different sections.
Well, we do have employees with an Aboriginal background
Yeah.
working for us in traffic control, and the contractors that we engage
As well.
additionally for traffic control also have Aboriginal employees. So whether we meet the full 1.5%, I imagine we do.
Through Mr Mayor, it's a bit like the Modern Slavery Act situation. Some level of procurement assessment would need to be undertaken as well. So.
Oh, just, you know, we piecemeal do all these together. I'm just seeing how we do it. Thank you. Don't think there's any other. And we're spending all this money out the new highway too. There's been no more talk of the flood mitigation work out there, which just seems to have.
Not to me. Oh, sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. Not to me directly, or any of the team working out there.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I understand that they did do some biodiversity assessments out there, but that's kind of the last notification that we've received, and then it's gone quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're allocating another $8 million towards these roads, and then they're talking about building them up to a whole new level. It's just, anyway, we're happy to take the money and happy to get the work done. It's just I hope we're not doing it again in the future, that's all. No worries. No more questions, any councillors, comments? No? I'll put that to the recommendation from the council notes report. All those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. All those against? Thank you, councillors. Oh, do I have moved and seconded or not? No. Sorry, councillors. Moved by Councillor Neal and seconded by Councillor Gorman. Thank you very much. Sorry. We move on to the Director of Environmental Services report. These development applications, construction certificates and complying development certificates. I'll ask for a move in a second of that report. Moved by Councillor Montgomery and seconded by Councillor Macon. Thank you. I'll ask Mr Sheen to present his report.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So item 13.1, it just outlines the applications determined during December and or January. So there's only 2 during December, DAs. There was no other application determined during January. That was due to staff leave during that month.
Yes. Any questions, councillors? No, it's pretty straightforward. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Thank you, councillors. 13.2, we move on to the draft public interest disclosure policy. There's a recommendation that we note the information in the report. The council places the draft Weddin Shire Council public interest disclosure policy as attached to this report on public exhibition for a period of 28 days for the purpose of inviting submissions from the community, and that the Director of Environmental Services presents a further report to council with all submissions received at the conclusion of the public exhibition period for council's further consideration and adoption of the policy, or in the event that no submissions are received during the exhibition period, the council formally adopts a policy without any changes as a policy of council. Have a move and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Macon, seconded by Councillor Rolls. Thank you. I'll now ask the Director of Environmental Services to talk on this draft policy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So all agencies in New South Wales have got to have a public interest disclosure policy under the Public Interest Disclosure Act, which came into force in 2022. So we did have a previous policy that was adopted by council, I think it was back in 2020. So obviously with the changes to the Act, we need to update that. Public interest disclosure means a voluntary, well, it basically can be a voluntary or witnessed or a mandatory disclosure, and it relates to any serious wrongdoing, which includes corrupt conduct, government information contravention, a local government pecuniary interest contravention, serious maladministration, a privacy contravention, a serious and substantial waste of public money. So our previous policy, given the substantial changes, it wasn't actually just updated, it was a total rewrite of the policy. The new draft policy is basically has been formulated to comply with the model policy, which has been put out by the Ombudsman's Office. So it's basically there to describe how council will support and protect any person who comes forward with a report of serious wrongdoing, how council will deal with that report, any person can contact if they've got a concern or they want to make a report, how to make the report, and the protections which are available for those people. So
As I said before, the draft policy has been is in accordance with the model policy, so it's just a recommendation there for council to put that out on public exhibition.
It's definitely a bit more involved than what our previous one was. Councillors, any questions? Any questions of the Director? No? Any comments on the policy? No? Okay then. Put that one to the vote then. All those in favour of accepting that policy for public exhibition? Thank you. All those against? Thank you, councillors. That's very easy. Move on to 13.3, I believe, the Grenfell Aquatic Centre attendances. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Parlett and seconded by Councillor Neal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So, Grenfell, item 13.3 is just the attendance figures for the Grenfell Aquatic Centre for the second quarter of the financial year. So that was the period from the 14th of October, being the open date, through to the 31st of December. So that's just for council to note.
Noted, thank you. With that motion, all those in favour? Councillors? It's only for noting, but thank you. All those against? Thank you. Move on to 13.4, Condiala Swimming Pool Centre, same sort of figures, I suppose. A mover and a seconder, please. Yep, Councillor Parlett and Councillor Macon, thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So item 13.4, same as Grenfell. So it's the attendance figures for the second quarter, but that is from the 29th of October 2024 to the 31st of December 2024. And 29th was the opening date for Condiala Swimming Pool.
Yep. We still had some pretty good figures. It's 591 for December, which is good for a small pool, small township. Councillors, anything? Any comments? No? Noting the report. All those in favour? Noting the report. Thank you very much. All those against? Thank you, councillors. Next we move on to 14, Delegates Report. I don't believe we have any Delegates Report for this month. No. We move on to the minutes of committee meetings. We've got 15.1, we've got minutes of the Henry Lawson Festivals Committee, which have been held on the 13th of November 2024, the 1st of December 2024, and the 11th of December 2024. The recommendation here is that council accept or otherwise dealt with at the minutes of the Henry Lawson Festival of Arts held on the following dates: 13th of November 2024 that council notes and adopted as present, the 1st of December 2024 that council notes, and the 11th of December 2024 that council notes and adopt as presented. We have a move and a second for those recommendations. Moved by Councillor Gorman, second by Councillor Macon. Thank you. Are there any comments on this, councillors? No questions? Anyone presenting it? No? No? All those in favour of the recommendations then, councillors? Thank you. Anyone against? Thank you, councillors. We move on to... Not it, is it? Right, 15.2. Council, the committee's report from the Australia Day Executive Committee, which was a meeting that was held on the 17th of December, the 21st of January and 2025. The recommendation that accept were otherwise dealt with at the minutes of the Australia Day Executive Committee meeting was held on those dates, be noted and adopted as presented. A mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Gorman and seconded by Councillor White. Thank you very much. You've got the minutes there in front of you, councillors. Any questions? No, it's all pretty straightforward. So I'll move the recommendation. All those in favour of the recommendation, please, councillors. Thank you. All those against, so moved. Right. Sorry, we're moving on to closed council now, aren't we? Yep, sorry, so that's it, councillors. We're now moving to closed council. The meeting will now be closed to the public under Section 10A2 of the Local Government Act 1993 to consider the items following because of their confidential nature. We were dealing with 16.1, the electrical procurement for small market sites. This matter is considered to be confidential under Section 10A2C and D1 of the Local Government Act 1993, and Council is satisfied the discussion of this matter in an open meeting would on balance be contrary to public interests, as it deals with information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a person with whom the Council is conducting or proposes to conduct business with, and commercial information of a confidential nature that would, if disclosed, prejudice the commercial position of the person who had supplied it. We're also closing it for 16.2, which is a request for tender 51/2024, the installation of play equipment, softball amenities and certification for Taylor Park. Once again, this matter is considered to be confidential under Section 10A2, D1 and D2 of the Local Government Act. And Council is satisfied the discussion of this matter in an open meeting would on balance be contrary to public interest, as it deals with commercial information of a confidential nature that would, if disclosed, prejudice the commercial position of the person who supplied it, and information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a competitor of the Council. We're also closing for 16.3, which is an extension to a plant hire contract tender 28/2023. This matter is considered to be confidential under Section 10A2, D1 and D2 of the Local Government Act 1993, and Council is satisfied the discussions of this matter in an open meeting would on balance be contrary to the public interest, as it deals with the commercial information of a confidential nature that would, if disclosed, prejudice the commercial position of the person who supplied it, and information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a competitor of Council. Moving on into 16.4 on closed council, which is a correspondence item we'll be dealing with, which is a request to install drain and seek a waiver of council rates. This matter is also considered to be confidential under Section 10A2A of the Local Government Act, and Council is satisfied the discussion of this matter in an open meeting would on balance be contrary to public interest, as it deals with personal matters concerning private and personal individuals other than councillors. Thank you very much. So that's the reason we're closing. We'll have a move in a second to go into closed council, councillors. Moved by Councillor Montgomery, second by Councillor Rolls. All those in favour of going to closed council now? Thank you very much, councillors. And now we'll move into closed council. Back everybody from the closed council session. We dealt with 16.1 electricity procurement for small market sites. There was a recommendation there of 16.1 that council notes the report on electricity procurement for small market sites. The council also participates in the regional procurement process facilitated by Central New South Wales Joint Organisation for the supply of electricity for small market sites. 3, that council notes the extreme volatility of the energy market currently being experienced. 4, that council notes the short time frame for acceptance of offers for the supply of electricity and resolves that because of the extenuating circumstances set out in the report, a satisfactory result would not be achieved by inviting tenders for the aggregated procurement of electricity for small market sites, which are due to commence on the 1st of July 2025. Number 6 notes that the reason for the decision of council in resolutions 5 areas are as followed. A, the service with respect to which the tenders relate can only be provided by energy retailers. B, council has received expert advice that due to the nature of the relevant market, offers from those retailers which will be made in response to the request for tender will only be open for acceptance for a period of 1 to 2 weeks. C, even if the tender period was shortened to 7 days as permitted under regulations, some if not all of the relevant tenders would expire prior to council being able to undertake an assessment of the tenders, report the matter to council and resolve to accept or reject any tenders. And D, this would result in council either having no valid tenders which it is able to accept, or it would not be able to consider for acceptance all of the tenders lodged in response to the request for tender. And E, this would not be a satisfactory result for the council. So part 7, it delegates the determination, acceptance of rejection of proposals on behalf of the council to the Director of Environmental Services. 8, the delegation to the execution of the contract for the supply of electricity for small sites to the Director of Environmental Services. 9, receive a report on conclusion of the process detailing the outcome. And 10, we will advise Central New South Wales Joint Organisation of its decision. And that motion was moved and passed. We then moved on. Catch up. Page 20, is it? We then moved on to 16.2 of the closed council, which was a request for tender 51.2024 for the installation of play equipment, softball amenity, and certification for Taylor Park. The recommendation was that council notes information contained in this report regarding request for tender 51/2024, the installation of play equipment, softball amenity and certification for Taylor Park. 2, council endorses the tender 51/2024, installation of play equipment, softball amenities and certification for Taylor Park for the tendered price of $250,776.50 ex-GST. And 3, the council delegates the general manager to enter into and execute the contract with play workshops for the installation of play equipment, softball amenity and certification for Taylor Park. It was also moved, seconded and was passed by council. Page 24. We moved on to section 16.3, which was the extension to the tender 28/2023 for plant hire panel contracted tenders. The recommendations were that council note the information contained in this report. The council approves the contract extension for 12 months for the panel contract for plant hire 2/28/2023, which was commenced on the 20th of February 2025. The council delegates the general manager to enter into contract variation agreements with all approved suppliers based upon the CPI increase using the December 2024 quarter of 22.4%, and that was moved, seconded and passed. Thank you very much. And then we moved on to 16.4, which was a correspondence matter and requesting to install a drain and seek a waiver of council rates. The recommendation was noted that council noted the report and all accompanying correspondence that had been received. 2, the council notes the comments from the council staff in response to this correspondence. And 3, council denies the request to waiver rates to the property owners of Bradley Street. And that was passed unanimously as well. Thank you very much. So that being said, I think that brings us to conclusion our February council meeting. Thank you all for attendance. I move in a second to close the meeting. Moved by Councillor Rolls, seconded by Councillor Montgomery. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you very much, staff, and thank you very much, councillors.
Thank you.